G'day, welcome back to the channel. In this one we're going to take a look at the insanity that's going on in the European Union at the moment. As we've discussed on this channel before, the European Union has a mandate to get to net zero by 2050, and that effectively means an EV mandate for all the road vehicles in Europe. Most of the automakers in Europe are struggling with this, obviously, because they don't want to have to build all EVs and nobody wants to buy EVs. But this is all driven, obviously, by the climate crisis, apparently, and we have to reduce our carbon dioxide emissions. And this is forcing automakers in Europe to switch to EVs. And despite all the protestations from auto manufacturers in Europe about how this is going to destroy the industry, the continent is going to be flooded with cheap Chinese rubbish EVs instead, and putting all the local manufacturers out of business. And instead of relaxing those requirements, the EU has announced it's actually going to tighten them even further. Yep, it's almost unbelievable, but this is what Europe is now proposing. The government supports new requirement, 90% less CO2. The EU is tightening climate requirements in a new legislative proposal. 90% of CO2 emissions will be gone in 15 years. Yeah, good luck with that. The Swedish government supports the new law. There is a great concern in the car industry about the EU's ban on the sale of cars with internal combustion engines in 2035. Yesterday, Ola Källenius and the Swedish Automobile Industry Association protested in a letter to the President of the European Commission, Ursula von der Leyen. And we'll take a look at that letter in a minute because I've got a copy that we can go through. But the EU is instead planning a tightening of climate requirements. It's like, no, we're not going to listen to you. In fact, we're going to rub your noses in it by making it even harder. Can you believe it? In July, the Commission presented proposals for a stricter climate law with requirements for a 90% reduction in net emissions by 2040 compared to 1990. Absolutely insane, absolutely impossible, will never happen. Now the proposal has been sent out for consultation to governments within the EU. The Swedish government announces in a memorandum from the Ministry of Climate and Enterprise that they support the proposal for stricter climate targets with some reservations. This is the kind of madness that you have to deal with in Europe, and this is the madness that the car manufacturers in Europe are having to deal with. These bureaucrats who just impose mandates from their ivory towers without any thought about the reality of the market in Europe. And here is the letter from Ola Källenius and this other guy, Matthias Zink, president of the European Association of Automotive Suppliers. And basically, after a few paragraphs of doing the usual bidding to the net zero goals, which they have to do, obviously, because that's part of what's expected, we get to the key point of the letter. The upcoming revision of the CO2 standards for cars and vans is an opportunity to correct the course and anchor in law much needed flexibility, industrial perspective, and a market-driven approach. It is clear by now that penalties and legal mandates alone will not drive the transition. Technology neutrality should be the core regulatory principle, which safeguards that all technologies can contribute to decarbonisation. EVs will lead the charge, but there must also be space for plug-in hybrids, range extenders, highly efficient internal combustion engines, ICEs, hydrogen and decarbonised fuels. Better leverage of key transition technologies, such as plug-in hybrid vehicles, will be critical in meeting decarbonisation goals, engaging consumers in the green transformation, and serving export markets where demand for this technology will remain high. But if the EU tightens existing rules that account for the driving distance plug-in hybrids cover using electric power, the so-called utility factor, this could counterproductively give an advantage to our competitors. Dropping the potential utility factor restriction is the logical option, opening the industrial perspective for manufacturing technologies in Europe. Beyond tailpipe emissions, manufacturers and suppliers have also made sizable investments in driving down emissions from the manufacturing of vehicles and components. It's worth considering if and how these efforts could be recognised as part of a more flexible decarbonisation approach. Incentivising innovation typically creates stronger and broader value chain contributions, strengthening the ecosystem. Options could include long-term solutions such as carbon storage and removal as well. Finally, the Commission must ensure that Europe retains its vital production capacity and technological know-how. Without policies that enhance European competitiveness to maintain manufacturing, the transition risks hollowing out our industrial base, putting innovation, quality employment and supply chain resilience at risk. The world has changed drastically since the current direction has been set, and the EU's strategy for the automotive sector must change with it. We must move beyond the narrow assumption that this transition hinges solely on CO2 targets for new vehicles. That's why the upcoming strategic dialogue on the future of the automotive industry on 12 September is the moment for a change of tack. This is the EU's last chance saloon to adjust its policies for today's market, geopolitical and economic realities, or risk jeopardising one of its most successful and globally competitive industries. We share a common destination, yet the journey requires more pragmatism and flexibility to keep the motor of Europe's automotive sector running. Well, I can't imagine that this will have any effect. It will fall on completely deaf ears in the European Union because they are so blindly wedded to this mad net zero project that they're not going to back away from it. And as we've seen, they're actually going to do precisely the opposite and make it even harder for local European auto manufacturers to compete with the Chinese EV rubbish that will be flooding into the continent. It's absolutely, well, it's so depressing. It's so disappointing that we're run by these morons who make these ridiculous decisions. Tragic, really. Anyway, that's it for this one. Thanks very much for watching. See you in the next one. Bye for now. If you'd like to support this channel and display your anti-EV credentials to your Tesla-owning neighbours at the same time, why not buy some awesome MGUY merchandise, like this mug, this baseball cap, or this t-shirt. Each high-quality item sports the MGUY No EVs sign, and they're all made to order, perfect for irritating the hell out of your local EV zealots. Visit store.mguy.tv or click the link in the description to check out the full range of products. And of course, you can always just buy me a coffee. Click the link in the description or scan the QR code on screen. Thanks very much for watching. Really hope you enjoyed it. If you've got any tips or stories, go there. If you'd like to watch another video, go there. If you'd like to buy me a coffee, go there. And please subscribe to the channel.